What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you've read the title, today we will be talking about the best pets for each dungeon class in Hypixel Skyblock. There are several really good Berserker pets out there. Examples of these are the Griffin, the Tiger, the Lion, and the Wither Skeleton. These are all incredibly good. It all have their pros and cons, such as the Griffin giving you potion effects, while also giving you a lot of strength, the Tiger giving you a lot of ferocity, the Lion giving you a lot of first hit damage, and the Wither Skeleton giving you a good mix of damage and EHP, especially if you're fighting in floor 7 and Necron, because it gives you damage against withers, or wither skeletons. However, all of these pets may be really good and might be really good options, but they are not the best Berserker pet, which is what this video is centered around. If you want a more in-depth guide on pets, I recommend checking out the progression guide for Berserkers, and I have a progression guide for Archers as well. I might make one for the other classes in the future, and you can check that out as I talk in more depth about the different pets and their pros and cons. The best pets for a Berserker is there are actually two really good options. If you want more EHP, if you're running into the fight all the time and you take a lot of damage, then I do recommend getting the Baby Yeti. Berserkers have incredibly high strength, so the Baby Yeti is incredibly powerful. A Baby Yeti at level 100, let me just show you real fast. Level 100. Baby Yeti. A level 100 Baby Yeti will transform 100% of your strength into defense, and also gives you strength and intelligence. Additionally, for example, I currently have 1057 strength, and if I had a Baby Yeti, that would give me an additional 1057 defense. More than doubling my current defense, which you can see is 911. Indeed, the Baby Yeti really increases your HP by a lot and could be considered as the best Berserker pet. However, if EHP is not your main issue and you want a good mix of damage, EHP, and everything else, then the best, and what is considered to be the best Berserker pet by most people, is the Ender Dragon. The Ender Dragon has a buff that gives you a 10% buff to all your stats, making you much stronger in every way. However, the Ender Dragon is much more expensive than the Baby Yeti, so I do recommend getting a Baby Yeti unless you have a lot of money to spare and are willing to go and get an Ender Dragon. If you pretty much have hundreds of millions. For example, right now, let me just check how much an Ender Dragon pet is. Ender Dragon, there's mostly going to be skins. So let me just go on Epic. An Epic Ender Dragon lowest bin is currently 373 million. And you need a legendary one to get the 10% buff. If we can find a tier boosted one somewhere around here, we can then actually see how much they are. If you want to get a tier boosted Ender Dragon, not even level 100, it's going to cost you more than 40 million coins. But if you 400 million coins, sorry. But if you want a level 100 Baby Yeti with a dwarf turtle shelmet, it's going to cost you like 40 million coins, so 10% of that. Now that we've gone over the two best pets for Berserkers, let's go on to talk about the best pet for Archers. Archers have a bit less choice in terms of pets, but they can pretty much use every pet a Berserker uses. However, the Archers also have the ability to use pets such as the Skeleton, which gives you a pretty big damage increase for your bow weapons, which is pretty much what Archers use. Indeed, that means that you should be using like a Skeleton or any of the Berserker pets I stated earlier, if you don't have enough money to get any of the pets I'm going to talk about right now. The best Archer pets are pretty much identical to the Berserker pets. They are the Baby Yeti and the Ender Dragon. All the points stay valid throughout both. However, the Archers could also maybe get a blue whale because in some situations when you're using like a Juju or a Terminator, there's a good chance that the blue whale will actually outperform the baby yeti, but that's usually when your stats are not optimized. If your stats are optimized, your baby yeti will most likely outperform the blue whale. So I do recommend a baby yeti overall because it's just overall better. And you can also swap to Berserker and still keep that baby yeti. Of course, once again, if you have a lot of money to spare, then I do recommend getting an Ender Dragon. The next class we're going to talk about is the final DPS class, and it's very different from archers and berserkers, and this class is of course mages. For mages, what you need to really understand is that they have way less selections, so it's much easier to make your choice. If you want maximum damage and lowest price, your best bet is going to be a sheep pet. So let me just go on quickly on a sheep pet. So I'm most expensive, so I can see level 100 sheeps. And you can see, as you can see here, a sheep pet is going to give you 200 intelligence and 20% ability damage, making your right click pretty much stronger. And do note that this sheep has textbook, so normally it would only have 100 intelligence. Additionally, a lot of players will add the Minos relic onto the sheep because it will increase that awesome ability damage even further, increasing your right click mage damage much more. However, sheeps have the downfall of giving you very little EHP and do harm your survivability, as when you're in Storm or Maxor armor, you will be less tanky than if you're Necron or Goldor armor. The next pet we're going to talk about is actually one that is made to solve this issue, and that is the blue whale pet. The blue whale pet is pretty much the EHP solution for mages, and you will usually be using a dwarf turtle shellmate with it. And the blue whale pet is overall just a really good EHP pet, pretty much on par with the baby yeti. But the reason why mages have to use the blue whale and not the baby yeti is because mages have such little strength. They must focus on getting a blue whale instead, as it will far outperform the baby yeti for mages. Additionally, I just want to note that for this, I'm mainly focusing on right-click mages and not left-click mages, and left-click mages will be using different setups. Usually, left-click mages can use Berserker pets or Archer pets, but it really depends on how their setup is made. The final mage pet I want to talk about is the Golden Dragon. I'm not sure how this works, but essentially, if you have a max Golden Dragon and a Hyperion, you're going to be dealing absolutely massive damage with that Hyperion. So if you really want to be endgame and want to deal the maximum amount of damage, then your best bet is going to be using a Golden Dragon and a Hyperion, and doing so, you will be dealing a lot of damage. But do once again make sure that your EHP is on point, because if your EHP is too low, you will still die, and that is why I still recommend for most players to simply go for the blue whale, which is the most popular mage pet. Leaving off that note on EHP, let's talk about the tank class, one of the most respected and useful classes now in Hypixel Skyblock. The tank class is, from what I understand, pretty boring, and from my experience as well. Essentially, the tank will be tanking all of the damage, so your pet should normally focus on maximum EHP. There are some tanks that have like a semi-tank burst setup, where they will be using Necron and sometimes swap to Goldor when they need more EHP, and these people will usually have some Berserker pets on backup, or will be using a baby yeti, because they'll still have high strength due to their semi-burst setup. In terms of pure tank though, your best bet is normally simply going to be the blue whale. Tanks have far less strength than berserkers or archers, and the blue whale will be much better for them. Additionally, they even have a lot more health, and the blue whale, I believe, is affected by the amount of health you have. Let me double check that. The blue whale you will gain 3 defense per 20 max health. So tanks that have thousands and thousands and thousands of health will gain much more defense thanks to the blue whale. There isn't really an ultimate endgame pet for tanks unless you want to be like a mixed tank, like a Burst tank, Mage tank kind of thing. Overall, your best bet will just be the blue whale for the tank class, making it one of the cheapest classes to get endgame and pretty much endgame setup for a tank. Our final class we'll be discussing today is the most ambiguous one of them all, and it is the healer class. The healer class is essentially kind of like a filler class. It's not going to be like, it's a very useful class, don't get me wrong, but like there isn't really like a set healer set except you can use like the Mender Crown. You're essentially going to be a different class, but you're going to have some different gear, slightly different gear to adapt for being a healer. There is one pet specifically made for healers, and that is the jellyfish pet. The jellyfish pet has some pretty interesting stats that really help healers, like radiant regeneration while you're in dungeons. Like your health and regen is much better, and you also heal other players around you, and your potions are also more powerful, so you can do like splashes. Overall, the jellyfish is made for healers but isn't really the best pet, although there aren't really any good healer pets per se. Apart from that, you're either going to be a mage healer, an archer healer, a berserker healer, maybe even a tank healer, and essentially you're just going to be using the best pet from the class that which you choose, and you usually won't even be using the jellyfish. So pretty much the best pet for healers is just going to be depending on your gear completely. But overall guys, that was pretty much all I wanted to say for this video. If you guys ended up enjoying the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Of course, I may have made some mistakes or skipped some pets. If I did, please leave them down in the comments to help out others. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Also, be sure to join my Discord server, and I'll see you guys in the next one.